I am the Highland Scribe, scribe to the stones, to the winds, to the bloodlines that walk unseen. Come closer, closer still. You see, the fire's warm. But this tale tonight, this tale runs wild. This tale is called The Name That Ends the Day. And in the wind-swept reaches of Aberdeenshire, where the skies sit low and grey like a curse, the Stuart line remembers a tale that was never written in any book, but buried in blood and bone, passed down in low tones round the campfires, never spoken afore the dew dried. It's a tale o' names, no just any name, but the kind that you dinna say. No at dawn, no ever, and certainly no for 3 days in a row. And that, my friends, is where we begin. He wasn't one of the travelling folk. He was born of the village, full of stiff collars and small thoughts. He was a man of sneers and stiff hands. His name was lost to us through time, but his face lingers in the nightmares of those who ken the tale. Cruel-eyed, mocking, a man who hated what he did not understand. And he hated our kind, the travelling folk, more than anything. That's when he accused 3 of the lads from the campsite, good lads, for stealing. They were barely old enough to grow whiskers, and everybody knew what this meant. Nae trial, nae judge, nae justice, just a rope. You see, in those days, under the Egyptian Act, a man could be hanged in Scotland just for the crime of being born a traveller. They didn't need a reason, only a name and a neck. And so they were, hung in the square on a grey morning. Nae last rites, nae mercy, just the creak of the wood and the silence of their mother's screams. It was passed down that morning the wind didna blow. It shuddered. The travelling folk wept like the sky itself had been cut open. The lads' mothers clawed at the earth. And the travelling folk were gathered by the dozen. But they didna rise, no that day. But we remember. That evening, as the fire crackled and the shadows began growing long, that man came down from the village to mock them even more. He was drunk, very bitter, and laughing. On his way past, he passed the farmer who had warned him, and this man was old. He had old blood in his veins, and he said, "Lad, you should never have said what you said this morning," he whispered. "No, that word. That's just a word that's never said. 'Cause you ken it's no just a word, laddie. It's a key." The man only laughed and sneered at him, pushing the farmer out the road. "Ach, I'll say it again the morrow," he barked. "What are they going to do about it? Curse me." And that is when one of the elders stepped forward. Mags was her name, cloaked in ash and sorrow for what had happened. She was silent, but still watching everything. She looked at him, and then spoke. "We will no curse you," she said. "This is your second dawn. Say the onward a third time, and it'll no be our doing. It'll be your own undoing." He scoffed, turned away, spat to the ground. "Ugh, your bogeyman can come for me, sell," he said. And he did. The next morning in the town square, it was said he was gathered with a load of his friends, boasting as loud as possible as what he'd done and what he'd achieved to get rid of some of us. As if his mockery could shield him, the village chuckled nervously. Some averted their eyes, but he shouted the name one last time. It's a name that I'll no repeat. I dare not repeat it, and you must understand that. But he screamed it to the sky. The air began changing. It dropped, and it was cold and wet, like something dead had touched the actual sun. A storm began rolling in, black-bellied and unnatural. Thunder with nae lightning, birds scattered in silence. He walked home grinning like the Cheshire cat, teeth flashing like knives. That was the last day anyone saw him alive. That night, the skies cracked open, no with rain, but with a sound. It was a moaning, a screeching roar, so they say, that rattled the teeth of every cottage in the glen. It was that loud that it went straight down to the travelling camps. The dogs began howling. The earth itself seemed to draw its breath. And then it came. It burst through his roof with wings as wide as a barn door and bones that were bent all in the wrong way. Its hide was leathery and stretched thin, as if grown over spines and grief. Its face, nobody dares describe it fully, but they say it looks like it has too many mouths, all whispering names in reverse. Eyes like pits, no empty, but hungry. It isn't a ghost, it isn't a spirit. It's something much, much older. Something born in the gaps between our world and their meanings. We call it the Dregnachan. In the old tongue, it means the name that ends the day. It didn't roar. It hummed low and wrong, like the sound of wasps inside your skull. And it tore its way through his whole house, through the stone, through memory, through the very shape of his entire life. The next morning, the villagers found nothing apart from his boots that were still standing at the hearth, and above the door frame, scorched into the beams, was one single word. 3. They buried the boots, though the priest said he didn't deserve the rites, and from that day on, no one, even the cruel, uttered any name before tea, no in the still light of morning. Because some names, well, some names aren't names at all. They're doors. And when your day feels like it's gone from bad to worse, and the milk starts souring, and the wind turns, and everything around you just feels like you're being watched, sit and ask yourself, did you speak a name this morning? A word you didn't normally say? And by the will o' God, don't say it again. I am the Highland Scribe, scribe to the stones, to the winds, to the bloodlines that walk unseen, and until the candle lights again, sleep tight, wanderers.